Wednesday, already Wednesday? Maybe no, it's not. Today's Wednesday. Can you believe it? And I'm glad to have you all here. Of course, today is the economic report, and of course, today's title is just the clock. And I threw out some stuff about President Trump and his visit to UK. And of course, if there's anybody who loves castles, military parades, horse-drawn carriages, and the pomp and circumstance of it all, well, I present to you nobody else than President Trump. He is that guy. So you'll appreciate the fact that he's there meeting the Prince of Wales, meeting the King of England, and of course, he's there with his lovely wife, and of course, Lord knows how many Secret Service agents and other servants there to help make this whole thing go off well. Today's long form video that I released somewhere around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock this morning, really has a lot to do with, well, I know what's going on the outside, right, of this meeting, but the big question is what's going on the inside, right? In other words, what other story is there to share that's really worth dealing with? We're going to go ahead and change my spot here. I've got about, well, 5 or 6 chairs here available. And so maybe, just maybe, we'll go ahead and try this one out. Well, this one also has a bit of sun, but we're gonna roll with the punches here. That might be a little bit better here for our economic report. So just sharing this with you, and I appreciate your patience with me because, well, we don't say we're perfect, but we do say that we're here for our audience, and that's really what this whole thing is about. Hey, welcome to the Economic Report. It's Brian. Thank you for joining me. And, of course, we're talking about the president's visit to our dear British cousins in the UK. And, of course, not just the fact that he's there for a meeting per se. He's not just there to tour the castles and everything else. What the president's really on about is probably doubling down on our relationship with the British. And it is a powerful relationship, and it's purposely being made visible to the rest of the world how important this relationship is. And of course, how the British have our backs, and of course, how the United States really does have the backs of the British people as well. And of course, the larger scheme is throughout the entire Anglosphere, right? And so that's a very, very powerful signal to be sending out to the rest of the world. Hey, folks, welcome to the Economic Report. It's Brian. Thank you for joining me. And if you're from UK or Canada, drop that in here. And if you're from the good old United States or anywhere else, the English-speaking peoples, go ahead and drop where you're from. I'd love to hear from you. And, of course, a little bit more fun when we know where you're from. But thank you. Is, of course, that the president is not just there to talk about the things that, well, matter a little. He's there to talk about the things that matter a lot. And so, of course, that really comes back to a few huge themes. And one of those themes is, hey, we are at the point where we're getting a little bit tired of the Russians' nonsense, and not the Russian people, of course, but boy, Vladimir Putin has definitely pushed himself to the entire, he's proven himself to be kind of unreasonable with Ukraine, and instead of moving towards some type of ending the war type stance, he appears to be maybe doubling down with his rhetoric, his relationships, and of course, really doesn't want to seem as though he's going to give in to the Western demands. And of course, he obviously has deeper ambitions, and maybe that's the big thing that's coming across here through his attitude. And of course, the British and the Americans are having a conversation right now, and this is really a super powerful conference they're having, because the bottom line is that Putin must be stopped. Ukraine must be it, and the rest of the free world is counting on some movement here, and that's just what it is. Beyond talking about Russia, my belief is that they're really addressing some other powerful issues, of course, such as trade. They're talking about getting Europe really is in a position to really put the brakes on Russian oil as well. And every time the Europe buys oil from Russia, what they're really doing is helping Russia finance the war against Ukraine. So they're going to push for some other energy suppliers to the people inside of Western Europe. So this is another thing to take into consideration. And by the way, if you're just joining me here, go ahead, hit like and subscribe. That is put the world to rights, Brian. Well, Jim, Jim, please forgive me, but I'm an optimist, and I do think I see the world as the cup's half full. I'm not a half empty guy, and it's just the guy that I am. So please forgive me. I realize that there's plenty of bias out there to prove otherwise, but Jim, I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to stick with my optimism. I so please forgive me. I'm not saying that you are. You probably are a pretty sharp fellow, and I'll also see that there's some other wiggle room here that I see some wiggle room maybe where you don't. But to that point, thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. I did drop a wonderful video today, really about Trump's visit, and not just the visit, but really talking about some of the other things here in the visit, which is they're going to be talking technology, they're going to be talking trade, they're going to be talking about I would think that the reserve currency status of the U.S. dollar, which is really another thing to pay a ton of attention to. I believe they're also talking about the UK's reserve currency or their currency, because the British pound has been weakening over the years, right? And it's not just a little bit weak; it's gotten very weak. And I've got one of my American friends living over in London, says that his house that he purchased, if it's possible, while he paid a lot for it, he says it's the money that it's worth is actually depreciated, if that makes any sense. So it still costs a lot, but the buying power of those pounds is less, though. So that's just something to take into consideration as well. You restart the story, I didn't hear. Absolutely, sharpshooter. I will go ahead and drop a couple of things here. First of all, we were talking about the UK visit to Trump's visit to the UK, and of course, talking about some of the big things that we're speaking about here, which really has to do with it's nice. Trump will love to visit the castles. He loves the military parades, the horses, the carriages, the music, the bands, and everything else that goes along with it. But make no question about it, this is a very strategic meeting, and I got to be honest with you, sharpshooter. What I try to do is I try to just be. I'm thankful for anybody who serves in politics, if that makes any sense, because I think it's a tough job, and I think no matter what people do, what they say, I want to have some respect for them, and maybe that's something I really want to share with the people, because, dude, being a politician is a tough job. Putting yourself out there to be elected, extremely difficult job, and so I'm here to say that I'm just trying to be as optimistic as possible, and of course be respectful for the people that are part of the anybody who's electing, right? So I hope you can forgive me in my thoughts, and maybe in some way, shape, or form, maybe avoiding the topic as much as just trying to demonstrate anybody. If anything came out of the last week, friends, I would say this. I would most definitely say that we need to I'm gonna all right, sharpshooter. I hate to see you go, but I get it. Yeah, you might put it this way. Anybody who's in politics, it's a tough job. That's all I can really tell you. If we can go back to the UK, maybe I could say that the other things we're talking about, of course, today is going to supersede the parades, the soldiers, the castles. It's really going to be about maybe the future of the Anglosphere, and it really is a very powerful topic, because the old saying was that the sun never set on the British Empire, right? That it goes all the way around the world, and to that point, there's still the strong remnants of the British Empire, British businesses practically everywhere. And, we don't want to think that way. We want the president. The last thing we need is any kind of, my friends. So that's just where I come from. And Lord willing, anybody who takes on the role of public servant, no matter what they are, they can be the mayor, they can be the president, and everything in between. Yeah, you wish them, you wish that the good Lord looks over these people for no other reason than the last thing we need are more problems, right? So that's just where I'm coming from here, and I'm being straight up with you. Maybe I can share something I shared with my audience last week, which was like without a doubt, hey Bloom, glad to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Last week I shared maybe some insights. I used to have a friend who was a Holocaust survivor, spent time at Auschwitz of all places, right? Like what a terrible, terrible experience. And he lost his sister at Auschwitz. That's the truth, and I felt really, really bad for him. And he said, one of the things he learned from that experience is that it's easier to hate people than it is to love them, right? And I'm like, yeah, you make a good point there, because he said hate takes no effort. Hate just kind of like feeds off itself, and you can right away, bam, say, yeah, you hate somebody, right? And of course, the Holocaust survivor said, love takes effort, love takes understanding, love takes, well, sometimes turning the other cheek, sometimes taking a deep breath. And so I'm just simply stating that, you know, I can I can go ahead and say one thing, and of course, the thing is that I try to find a reason to like people as opposed to a reason not to like them. And maybe it's part of the reason I'm running the economic report and doing these lives, in part because I really do like the viewers, and whatever political affiliation you have, the fact of the we treat each other. And I got to be honest with you. If we can do that, boy, oh boy, we're doing amazing things, right? And if you can kind of at least accept that piece, and I think we can come away from even this economic report, which is really based on the UK and Trump's visit and all the other stuff going on in there. But if we can have a takeaway from today's economic report about just treating people well, then I think that's it's a big step forward. Citizenship is never going to go out of style, uh, and of course, we live in this day and age where people treat people poorly, and they say things, particularly online, which you can say, I guess, whatever you want, right? But I don't know. I think the good book says supposed to like treat each other well, love your neighbor, and so with that, I try to. That's how I try to run this channel. So I hope you guys understand, or if you see that I don't get too excited about all the rhetoric, because that's just one thing I promised I wouldn't do. I wanted to run a good channel and provide meaningful information, no matter who you folks are and what your political affiliations are. The bottom line is that's kind of where we are here. So, hey, if you are liked and subscribed to this channel, you've really helped out a lot today. And that's maybe a cheap way of saying thank you, and it doesn't cost you a dime, just causes you a click. And that would really, really be helpful. With that, ladies and gentlemen, maybe one thing I can share with you is this. What if I said that, the biggest battle we're fighting every single day, it's the one between our ears, right? And it's over our thoughts, our action, and our attitude. And if we can control our thoughts, we control really what comes out of our mouth and everything else that goes along with it. Make somebody's day, be kind, be sweet, say hi to somebody, make their day, because the world needs a little bit more love, and the world needs a little bit less cruelty, because cruelty's easy. Love, kindness, and appreciation, boy, it takes an effort, folks. And I mean that as well. Jesus does love everybody, and of course, I hope that everybody realizes that. Hey, folks, thank you for liking and subscribing. I'm done with the economic report today. Make sure you're subscribed so I can continue to provide you really good information. And with that, have a great day, folks. Thank you.